In this session, I'm going to teach you how to make your own tile and then use it as a tile map and creating your own terrain or background. So where to find some tile sprites? If you're an indie developer, so I suggest you that you kind of learn how to make your own art because people know that if you, for example, copy the other people's words, yes, it's good to use assets because they're meant to be for you. But imagine that you have a project. You can use, for example, 50% of your own artwork and 50% of those assets, and you can combine them if they resonate with your project. But if you want that you completely rely on others' artwork, then you have limited your creativity because there might be something that is not available in the internet and you want to make it for your own. Or you want to make something that would stand out and to be very different from the others. So we don't expect that you be artist. You can actually get some intuition from the others' artwork, but change something inside that. So it wouldn't be exactly that thing. For example, if you want to make a tile, you can look at other tiles on the internet, and it is a very good practice because you know how the tiles are made and you know what is the placement and or what color they choose. This is good. But then after that, try to get a conclusion and make your own. And this is true for the rest of other things. For example, designing the player or enemy. Okay, so now for those that they want to make their own tiles, I quickly teach them in the Photoshop, and then we go to Unity to implement the tiles to create a very beautiful scene. Let's say that we have decided we want to create a game that has the resolution of, for example, 128. And we want it to be stylized and with good and appealing look, which is actually different from pixel art. I don't say that pixel art it's ugly, but it has its own beauty, and people love that. Many people love that, but also people might prefer to use more realistic things. And also, as I am also a fan of some more realistic and stylized art, so let's follow that. But you can use this tutorial also for pixel art, but the designing is a little bit different, but 99% of the other things are the same. So, so now I go to Photoshop and I make a file, and I told you that PPU, pixel per unit, needs to be that. So I want that each of my tile gets one grid. If I go to the grid, just get every tile be one grid. So I make 128 to this, and then I make create. So let me first tell you the concept of the artist side of the tile sheet. Imagine that is the cube, okay, and that you gave it um, give it a color, for example. In here, I think that it's better to be like this. For example, it is an icy environment. Then at another layer, you have, for example, another contrasting, um, make it like this, another contrasting color. And you cannot just say, okay, I want to have these outlines and then to be like this, and then this, and then this. Okay, that is one of the tiles by because what happens if you do something like this? I'll tell you so quickly so you can be familiar with the concept of the seamless. What does it mean that if a tile is seamless? So let me make it bigger. So as you know, your tiles have to be beside each other so that an environment is met. Now that you have this, I duplicate the layer and put it inside this. I duplicate that and put it there. You can press shift so it um, see that. Can you say that it consists of different cubes? You say yes, because I see here, because it doesn't have any continuing, or this, so that is one cube. So the background is obvious that it consists of different cubes, and this is very ugly. I'm not talking about color or thing. The ugliness is that, for example, this is cut here. It's just going nowhere. Look at this. So we want to make a seamless background. So let's Control Z. So one way is that. One way is that wherever, let me zoom in, that you start a line, for example from here, you should end it at the opposite direction. Yes, in the middle it could be any shape. And also this is true for the upper part. For example, you start from the first grid, second grid. If you have watched the previous course, you know how to bring the grids. So let me tell you very quickly if you didn't. So go to your preferences here, use a ruler to pixel and your grid. For example, I have 128 pixel. For example, I want to make each chunk, make it half. So I have this line. So I said 64. And I want to have also 5 for division, and I say okay. And then you go to View, Show, and then press Grid, so you'll have that. Okay. So now let me continue. So yes, so the first, second, you start from here, and you go, for example, something like this, but it has to finish exactly as it started. So that was the second one, and also the second one. And also the thickness must be the same, otherwise it somehow shows. Um, okay, it's you, for example, first, second. From here, the middle is not important. You can do whatever that you want to do, but the ending is important that you put it here, okay? And yes, you can do something like this, and this. Imagine that his eyes crack. And now let's see if it is seamless or not. Yes, there are some websites that do that for you, but you don't need that because you can quickly check it here. Just by using the crop tool, try to increase the size of the canvas. There are different ways that you can increase the size of the canvas, but for example, canvas size, you can change that quickly. But for now, okay, I just want to make things, as fast as possible. So now I grab it here. And then I duplicate that. I press shift and duplicate those. Then I select those and then click duplicate. Now, see that. Now look at this. Can you say that it consists of different cubes? Can you, for example, say where the cube has a start or each chunk has a start and an end? No, it's kind of seamless. You don't know exactly, for example, you say, okay, is that your cube or was it? Yes, I see because of some mistakes I made. Yes, it is somehow. No, but if you look at the large picture, they think that you have made this as one picture. They don't know that you have copied different tile beside each other. Okay, so that's how you can make a seamless tile, and also for making backgrounds and different things, you can use this method. So we can make it beautiful. For example, let me show you some techniques. Let me control C. Yes. So because this layer should be on a different layer than this cube, than the background, I mean. So you can go to right click, blend option, and you have different option. For example, you can say outer glow, play with this values, to make it, somehow more beautiful. Or you can say drop shadow, but be careful that this, always double check that if it interferes with the other things or not. So you can play with this. There are many, many options here, which depends on your own creativity. You can use them. So let's go and make another one. I use a different approach for that. So let me do that and then zoom in. I give it a background of this color. And then I make a cube with this rectangle tool, make a cube that is 40 by, yeah, 60 is good. You can also change the number here. And to make it more alive, you can go here, for example, give it this, or make a stain, play with these values. Okay, so it's have a kind of 3D impression. So now that you have it, imagine that you put it here. Again, you know that the width is 60. You duplicate that and imagine that you put it here. And then go to this tool and see how much of that is there, 20. So 20 of that rectangle is here. So 40 of that should be this side. Okay, so that when the two tiles are beside each other, they would create a rectangle this size. Okay, so Control D, move it a little bit here, and then duplicate the layer. Press Shift if you want to move in a straight line. Um, 24. Was that really? No, it was 20. It was 40, and 20 is here. So 20 must be here. So I have to move that 5 pixels. I think that is. This is a smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, there's no problem that, for example, when 1 or 2 pixel this be bigger, or we can even change that. Don't be worried about that. Um, Remove this. Control T. Just be aware that this line and this line And also this part and this part are in a straight line. But the width is not very important. I just told that example that 2020 was that, okay, if you want to have the same size of this. And then imagine that you have this, and also repeat the same thing here. Press shift and select them, duplicate layers, bring this down, and again do this. And if you want, you can also give that, for example, half of them would go there and half of them on top. But for this shape, this is fine because, these are the distance between the layers. Let me bring all of them a little bit up. Okay, now I have that. Then I can give some cool. You have to rasterize layers. Blending option. And also you can give some hand. Okay, so create another layer. Where is my layer? Create another layer and then go to this. And beneath them, make something like this. Press shift so they are in a straight line. Don't worry, you can delete. What's no, no. Then do not press shift and then press. Or you can manually don't press shift and just do that for this. So that they are more natural. You can avoid going there, so you don't have to be straight there. And this and this. Let me. What's that? And sure, you can change the color. For example, you want to make it more black. You can go there and make it kind of. What is? I can. It more makes sense because they are the shadows. You could use this, or you could use drop shadow. Yes, it was better. But the thing is that you want colorful thing, you cannot give the shadow. Just the shadow should be something darker. You can also create your own shadow beside that. Um, Let me be careful about this and this. So they kind of match. If they don't, I have to use the erase tool. I hope, because even one pixel can make it look bad. Okay, now I have this, and I can duplicate it. and make it color overlay, a little bit whitish. Like, there is snow or something like that, or you can change color to something a little bit subtler. Opacity, decrease it. No, just keep it white, but decrease the opacity. Or I can decrease opacity also from here. Okay, imagine that you have this. You can make it whatever that you want to do. And don't forget to save your project. And then I want to export it. Oh, let's do something very quickly. We do our checks. So I merge the layers. So there, because for now, if you do something like this, something weird happens. So just export it. Just drag and drop it here. And duplicate. And also duplicate both of them and put on top or below them. Press shift and then yeah, so I think that was a good one. It is seamless. Yeah, it is test. You don't need this anymore. Change the color of that to something color overlay. Opacity. Then I bring it, make it, and I also fix that. And I will bring this model too. Now let's go to Project Assets and then create a folder just for the pictures and a sprite and a column art. And another folder just for the tiles. Tiles. And a drag and drop or show in Explorer, and you can put your things, your pictures here. So and give it a good name. What is that? For example, this would be the wall, and this would be the floor. And we want to create a time map. Yes, you can. Oh, let me fix the PPU for both of them. They were 128. Make it point so the color wouldn't be changed, and then that's fine. Some people might say, okay, I want to use this and this, you know. But this is not a good approach because not only it is hard, but there is also a better way called Tilemap. You go to 2D Object, Tilemap, and then Rectangular. And for example, for the background, for the BG, for the wall, I say this. And I go to Window. I think it was 2D. and tile palettes. Move from this to here, and then from here, no valid palettes. Just create new palette. The name of that would be my, for example, my palette. And select create and where in the tiles. I select the folder and it comes. If you don't see the grid, depending on the version of your Unity, press this edit. If it's too small, then make something like that. Okay, and now drag and drop this here and then, okay, tile. And let me bring my wall assets to somewhere else. I mean, something that I've created, the palette. And okay, drag and drop again here, and then save them here. So you have all assets. Inside that, you see something like this. Okay, I know you have this. There are some tools here, for example, like the brush tool. You select it. So now it is working. I just did it again and it kind of worked. That is weird. Okay. So now you have this. If you want to individually put that here, you can use this. Or if you want to, for example, drag and drop and make a big chunk, you can make it. This is for erasing. These are three tools that we mostly use. You can also press shift and it will delete that. So now imagine that we have something like this. Oh, this is the wall, I'm sorry. So I thought that is a platform. No, so if it is a wall, so this is your, I'll tell you later how to make the canvas this size, but imagine that this is our scene and this is the camera view. And now I just want to make something a little bit bigger than the camera. I don't know why it's acting weird. Okay, something bigger than the camera. Now, as it is a wall, and I want that always it be behind everything, so I give it a certain layer. For example, it will be BG, and it goes to the back. And then I come into the wall, certain layer is BG, okay? Now I want to create the real platform. I again double click on that, and then I go to 2D Tilemap, rectangular, and call it platform, where the play stands on the tile and interact with that. And I can make it the default one. No, because I'm going to give it a collider and can leave that to this. And so I bring this tile as well. And also I make sure that you select the corresponding one that you want to paint on. If you paint on the wall, then it would go and replace those walls. But make sure that you select the correct layer. So now imagine that I have something like this, like a platform, and for now, we don't have a player. So imagine that this square is our player. I put it here. The players usually have some, box collider, 2D, rigid body if you want to make it move smoothly and physics related. So now if I play the game, let's see what happens. Oh, it fell down. Why? Because it doesn't have any collider. You remember that? It does have collider to stop that. So how we do that? So in the layer that is related to the platform, we add a collider, but not a simple collider. There is a special Tilemap collider 2D as you see here. It gives it the collider. But as you see, for example, here there are also some boxes. It just really bad for performance, and it's better that the collider only exists at the outer boundaries, not in the middle of that, because nobody goes there. Okay, so that's why we use composite collider 2D, and it also gives a rigid body to this. So if you make it dynamic, it also falls. So make it static because we don't want that it moves. And on the Tilemap collider, let's say use by composite. And you see those lines have moved and only we have here. So use this once, and for all of the project, you just copy and paste this. And let's try this now. So it works perfectly fine. But as you see, there's something weird about this platform. We want that platform, the tiles that are on the right, they have an outline, for example, a black outline. Those that are top, they have on top of them they are black. Those that are below, they have the black line here, and those on the left has this one. So let's create that. So drag and drop your tile here, and then from the rectangle tool, make it select black color, and use something like this. So it has a black outline, or you can increase or decrease the size, something that is extinguishable. And then export it, and then move that thing to the bottom, and Control T, and I think, yes, I have to change from here 90%, and put it here, put it on the right. No, I cannot. For the top, instead of using that line, for example, you could use something like this. Change the color to this. Give it a shadow, drop shadow. And make sure that the shadow is 90%. something like that. Stain. I drag and drop them here. What we should do first, tell me. We should change the PPU to 128. Like this. Okay. And now imagine that we have two ways. Let me show you all the ways possible. You have this as a top. You go to palette, yes. The right, the left, below. The idea is that you, for the top, you do something like this. Whenever you have right, you for left. If you have below, oh, you can. Yeah, you can have make something that is both right and below, but this is not necessary for now. Okay, left. And also for the top, you can make top and right and make something for that. And now, look at it. Oh, what is... I prefer not to use the below. As you look at this looks better, you know? But it's really hard that for individual thing, you just do something like that. That's why we can use a tile roll. To use that, we need to install a package for that. So you should go to Package Manager, go to Unity Registry, to the Tilemap Editor and Extras. Um, make sure that they are checked. Okay, for me, this has been installed by default. So click right, create 2D tiles, rule tile, and then you have it and you say my rule. Then you have it. Go to inspector, then you see that. So let's see how it is made. So first, just put the default one just as you know that this is distinguishable. And okay, make your rules. The first rule, the tile that is in the middle, look at that. So which tile are allowed to come in the right side or left side of this? All types of tiles can go beside this. For example, this type, for example, this. It doesn't matter. So we get our floor here. Yeah, I think it was, yeah. And then I say, okay, for every direction, this is my tile that is here. And I say everybody in every direction from left, we can put every tile from to here to this side. If you want to forbid that, for example, this side, nothing, no tiles are allowed, then you use this. Click, or left or right click, any kind of click, just double click on that and it will go. And now we have the next one, that is the right one. This is something that should be always on the right, so nothing is allowed to be on the right, except that these tops, like this. For example, the top thing can't go here, so I say, okay, you are allowed, then other things are also allowed here. And then add for the left. And here's nothing on the left because I'm there, but at least make things for that, make decision for that. If you okay, have top. What? Why did okay? No problem. I can first bring it here, and then this is for the top. But it's nothing should come above that, but other things are allowed. So now we have that. Then inside the game, you have to, for example, you have to examine if you put it here, this will work, or this. For me, this usually works when I put it down here because the execution of that, the sequence of that are important. For example, if you do something like this, it would be different if you put it on there. But for me, usually it works here. And now I have my rule here, and I put it here, and then I use that. There are some weird problems there. Let me fix that. So I played with that, and something like this worked for me. Yes, it's kind of weird because in every game I have to change these things, and I don't know what's the real logic, but every time it changes. But okay, that's fine. Just know the concept. Okay, on the top don't appear, on the right you don't appear, on the left don't appear, and also yes, for the left it appear, for the right it appeared, but for the top and left, let me quickly make that because this is very ugly. So imagine that we have this, and then we have the rectangle, and export, and here and add them here, change the PPU to this, okay, and then to do a tile roll. This is your um, add new, then the top right. So this is a final result. For this one, use these arrows. For the left one, use these arrows. For the right one, this. For the top middle, use this. For the top left, use this pattern, and for top right, that is this, use this pattern. So that works well. And don't forget that you don't click on that. Just click on this thing that is your tile roll and try to make your tile. For example, you see if it doesn't work because there has to be something beneath that, so that this come on top of that. Or if you use one thing, it doesn't work, it should be two. So you have something like this, or you can add other things depending on your game. So might want to, for example, these are all the tiles and repetitive. You may want, for example, in some parts it have different pattern. Here, for example, so now I have dragged and dropped my model here and set the PPU to 128 and this to point. And let me again make a platform, yes. Something like this. So how to make some noises, for example, it might change, some of them automatically change. So I go to my rule here, open it and go to random, and then select, for example, this. And as you see, things change. You can use this, anything that you want. It has to be a sprite sheet. And you can set okay to rotate, to mirror, to change that. Okay. And if you want that to return to normal, just say none and return this. And everything returns to the previous state. I personally prefer that, for example, I drag and drop this here and make a new animation, you can make a new tile and make another uh, grid. And on top of that, you just place this in the places that you want. Or if you don't want, you can use the previous approach.